Okay, this is the end of the review for Part A, Geometry Review. This proof should have been replaced in place of the one that you actually have in your packet on number 66. So if you just kind of watch this proof, I'll quickly go through and show you what kind of problem will be on the final. The number 66 that you actually have in your review will not be on there. Okay. We didn't study parallelograms yet. All right, so we've got the markings already done for the two givens. So we've got two pairs of sides marked congruent. We next can say that Vx is congruent to itself. It could be Vx is congruent to xv because it is flipped if you turn the triangles around on top of each other. But that would be by the reflexive property. Then the triangles are congruent. Triangle WXV is congruent to triangle YVX, and that would be by side, side, side. Number 67, we are given that angle Y is congruent to angle W. Put that into your proof. And then go to the diagram and mark those angles congruent. Next, put in the second given that Z is the midpoint of XT, segment XT, because it's given. Now, use that information. If Z is the midpoint of segment XT, then segment XZ, and you need to put it into your proof, not just mark it, is congruent to segment TZ. That'd be by definition of midpoint. Next, we would go to the diagram because we're out of givens and see that there are vertical angles here that we can mark congruent, and we must put them in the proof using 3 letters to name them. So YZX, angle YZX, is congruent to angle WZT, and that would be because vertical angles are congruent. Okay, then finally what you wanted to prove was that triangle YXZ is congruent to triangle WTZ, and I think I left off a box for that because we could have put both givens in the first line. And since we didn't, we would have another line for the triangle congruence, and that would be by angle, angle, side. '68 says write an equation of the line parallel to this line. Parallel lines have the same slope. The slope is located as the coefficient of the x term, so this slope is 3/4. So if you want to write an equation of a line that's parallel to that one, it would have to have a slope of 3/4. You could write y equals 3/4 x, and then you could put plus anything you want. Example 1 could be -10. Could be all kinds of things, anything for B. Write an equation of the line perpendicular to the line. This line has a slope of 3/4, so the line perpendicular would have a slope that is the negative reciprocal of 3/4. So you take negative 3/4, you flip it over, and change the sign. So it would have a slope of negative 4/3. So y equals negative 4/3 x plus any y-intercept you want. You could even just write 0, whatever, any number you want there. Number 70 said graph the lines in the coordinate plane to the right. This line is in y equals m times x plus b form, where b is 1. That means you start on the y-axis at 1. The slope is 2/3, so that means to go up 2, right 3 from the starting point on the y-axis. So from here I go up 2, right 1, 2, 3. I do it again. And then I can go in reverse by going back to the y-intercept and then go down 1, 2, 2, and left 1, 2, 3. Down 2, left 1, 2, 3, and then I make a nice line. Number 71, I would graph by starting at the b value of -2, which is the y-intercept, the -2. The slope is -3/2, which means to go down 3, right 2. Again, this is where you start on the y-axis. Okay, so then I went from -2, I should go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and right 2. Can't do it again. So I'm going to go back to the intercept and go up 1, 2, 3, left 2. And then do that again. Up 1, 2, 3, left 2. And that's all I can do. So now I draw my line. Don't forget arrows. Are the lines from number 70 and 71 parallel, perpendicular, or neither? They are perpendicular because their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. What that means is I used to say negative reciprocals, they're opposite in sign, and they're flipped fractions. 73, write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line that satisfies the given conditions. Through this point, that's an x and a y, parallel to a line y equals -4x plus 1. This has a slope of -4. Parallel lines have the same slope. So the line we're going to write has a slope of -4. The format is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That is the point slope formula. So I put in the point, get y minus 2 equals m is -4 times x minus -4. I get y minus 2 equals -4 times x plus 4, simplifying. Distribute the -4, we get -4x minus 16. And then finally, to get it in slope-intercept form, we would have to add 2. That gives me y equals -4 times x minus 14. (74) Perpendicular to this line has a slope of 2, so the line perpendicular would have a slope of -1/2. This is your x and y points. We're going to put into the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I'm putting in -6 for y1, putting in -1/2 for m, and 2 for x1. It said slope-intercept form, so we are supposed to simplify this. So it'd be y plus 6, distribute the -1/2, give me -1/2 x plus 1. -1/2 times -2 is 1. And then subtract 6 from both sides. Final answer, y equals -1/2 times x minus 5. (75) says choose all lines perpendicular to this line. The lines perpendicular to this line with a slope of 5 would be -1/5 slopes. -1/5 is also -2/10, which is -0.2. So this first one has a slope of -0.2, so it is a line perpendicular. This is just -5, that's -1/5. This one, slope's -4. This is just a horizontal line. This one has the right slope, -1/5, so E is a good one. And this one, if you were to solve for y, you would subtract 1/5 x from both sides, so it is also perpendicular. Find the value of x for each. Well, if that's x, let's see. If this is 67, this is 67 because this is an isosceles triangle. Therefore, we would take 180 minus 67 plus 67 is 134. That leaves me with, let's see, 46 degrees for that angle. These angles are vertical, so this would be 46. This one over here would be 46 because that's isosceles. These base angles are congruent, just like these were. Right now we can do 180 minus 46 twice, which is 92. 46 plus 46. Subtract that from 180. I get 88, and that would be this vertex angle. And now finally x is 88. 177. Oh, if that's 122, this is the supplement to it. So it would be 58. And then that's an isosceles triangle. So this would be 58 also. So I've got 116 so far between 58 and 58. So I go 180 minus 116. I'll get this angle. What's that? 464. All right, then this would be 64. Vertical angles are congruent. This is isosceles, so this is 64. And this is a linear pair. So 180 minus 64, 116 degrees for x. A lot. And that is it. Study, prepare for your finals. Good luck on all your other finals as well.